Hello, and welcome back to Crazy Dave's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making a Palestinian-style turmeric bread. And this is associated with Easter, but you can really find it or make it any time of the year. It's very tasty, very flavorful. It's a different type of bread, but with a lot of flavor-building components to it. So we're going to be starting out with 4 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to have a 1/2 cup of sugar. We're going to have a teaspoon, I get these confused every single time, a teaspoon of turmeric for color. It's going to give a nice yellowish color to the dough. We're going to have 1 tablespoon of our instant yeast. Here I spent a ton of money on a huge giant 4-pound container of regular yeast, and we haven't had a regular yeast product yet. One of the other items, we're going to have salt. We're going to have a teaspoon of salt. Now, when it comes to the seeds that are in here, I have a 1/2 cup of toasted sesame seeds. Now, I happen to find them at the store, at the market, already toasted, and that saves a ton of time. So a 1/2 cup of toasted sesame seeds. One of the other spices we're going to be using in this is aniseed. Whole aniseed. We're going to actually add this. This is 3 tablespoons of whole aniseed. We're going to put this into a mortar and a pestle. And then I also have nigella seeds. Nigella seeds. Nigella seeds, you can find them in spice stores. Readily available, by the way. They're black and teardrop shaped, and they're also known as black cumin, but they're a very unique flavor. They bring like an oniony type of flavor to baked goods, and they're very popular in the Palestinian cooking. So I'm going to add these to the mortar and the pestle, and you just want to kind of break these a little bit. We don't want to grind them into a fine powder. That's not kind of what we're looking for. If you don't have a mortar and a pestle, you can put them in a spice grinder, but only pulse it like 2 or 3 times. You just want to kind of break them up a little bit. You don't want a really fine powder. Isn't this exciting? Yes, it is. I actually bought this just for this recipe. So we're just going to kind of pound these down a little bit, just like so. Some of the other ingredients, we're going to need a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And, of course, we're going to have some water. We're going to have 1 2/3 cup of warm water. It doesn't have to be super hot. I'm going to start out by just adding our flour in a cloud. One other thing too, again, Dave's Forgetful Kitchen. We have to forget something every time. Is going to be a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Almond extract is going to replace, there's a spice that's missing from this particular recipe, and that is malab. Malab is a spice that gives it's a Palestinian spice that's made from a certain cherry pit that's not really sourceable here in the U.S. So we're gonna kind of fake it with some almond extract is going to give us the similar flavor profile. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in our dry ingredients to the flour right now: the yeast, the turmeric, the salt, all of our seeds. I added the sesame seeds already. Now we're going to add the nigella and nigella. I have to really learn how to pronounce the spices I'm using. And we're just going to gently mix these spices in for a few seconds. While that's going into the water here, we're going to go ahead and add our olive oil, 1/2 cup of olive oil right into the water. And we're also going to add our 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract also into the water. Once this is fully incorporated, which it should be. Good planning here. We're just going to take some of these, push it down from the edge a little bit. Just like so. Then we're just going to continue to mix this on slow. And then we're going to pour in our wet ingredients. And then as this is going to mix for about probably 7 to 10 minutes until it forms a nice soft dough. You shouldn't have to add any more flour. If you do, it would just be a tablespoon at a time. But really, this is going to mix up fine. Should be no problem. It's going to come together, and we're going to then let it rest in a bowl for an hour. But we'll do that when we get down to that process. So we'll see you in about 7 to 10 minutes. Okay, so we're back, and our dough is just about finishing up. You can tell that because once it's mixed up, and if you can touch it like this, and it doesn't leave anything on your hands, then our dough is ready to move to the next stage. So we're just going to scrape this away from the dough hook. And then we're going to put it into, I have an already greased bowl right here. And you can smell all these spices coming together. It's a very fragrant dough. So we're just going to take a bowl scraper, and we're going to scrape this out. Put it into our already greased or olive oil bowl. It's eventually going to make it out here. And you've seen this process before. There we go. Perfect. And we're just going to take the dough and make sure that it's all coated with the oil on the bottom and the top. It's a little bit sticky, but it's all right. It's going to firm up once all the gluten forms. Make sure it's all coated. And then we're going to flip it over. And we're going to flip it over like so, making sure it's all coated with the oil. It's just that easy. Now we're going to just cover this in some plastic wrap tightly. So just grab some plastic wrap like so. We're going to let this sit. We're going to let this sit for 1 hour. And after that hour, we'll start forming it into loaves. So, you know the drill. I will see you in an hour. All right, so we're back, and it's been an hour, and you can see that our dough has risen. We're just going to carefully take off the plastic wrap. And we're going to take the dough out. I was supposed to already have this board floured, but of course I don't. How convenient. So lightly flour a work surface. Not too much, just a little bit. We don't want to add too much flour to this dough. We're just going to turn this dough out onto our floured surface. It's going to be very easy to work with, the olive oil that's in there. This is almost similar to the Moroccan flatbread as far as texture is concerned. And we're going to just form this, and we're going to cut this into approximately fourths. We're going to cut this in half, and it's a little sticky-ish, which makes it difficult to divide into fourths. But we're going to muddle through here. right, there's a couple. Here's a couple. Always when I'm filming, it's always fun. And to just grab a little bit more flour here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to form these. Don't want too much flour, but I'm going to form these into balls. This has got too much flour on it, so that's all right. That'll be mine. I'm going to form it into a ball, set it off to the side, take another one. And if you just cup your hands like this and turn on a board, you can see it forms a nice ball, nice round ball. This one here is going to be a little bit smaller, but that's all right too. Want a little bit of flour, just so it rolls on the table. We're going to grab a little bit from here. Let's do that. This never turns out correctly. When I do this without filming, everything works out perfect. When I do this and I'm filming, nah, never mind. Not going to happen. And our last one here. Oops. A little flour on the bottom there. There we go. Maybe just a small dusting here. And our last one. All right, very simple. Now, I have a lightly olive oil spray pan here. And we're going to just take these and we're going to flatten these out to be about 5 inches. And again, I've got my handy dandy measuring tool here. Five-inch rounds is kind of what we're looking for. And that's about correct. And we're just going to place these on our lightly oiled parchment paper and baking sheet. So I did oil the baking sheet a little bit. And I also oiled the parchment paper. You can see these kind of come together. It's a very pliable dough. It really works quite well. And if they're touching after they bake, it's no big deal. And it's a little larger than 5 inches, but you kind of get the idea. And then the floury one, that's going to be mine. I don't think it's going to matter when this bakes out. But that's about 5, maybe 5.5 inches. It's okay. The other thing we're going to do to these is we're going to just poke these with our fingers, just like so. This is going to help to deflate the dough when it starts to bake. When it bakes, it's going to puff up a little bit. This is going to help keep it slightly, slightly smaller. So we're just going to poke our fingers in here just to help deflate the dough when it bakes. There we go. Perfect. Now, we're going to just cover these lightly with our plastic wrap, and these are going to rise for another 30 minutes. While these are rising, we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees, and we're going to have a rack in the middle position in the oven. And then once these have risen, for the 30 minutes, we're going to pop it in the oven, And when we come back here, Jesus, when we come back, we're gonna be enjoying this phenomenal Palestinian flatbread slash turmeric bread slash Easter bread. It'll be great. So here we go. We're gonna let this rest for 30 minutes. Pop it in the oven, 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes, and then we're gonna let it cool, and we'll come back and have wonderful finished bread. See you soon. Okay, so we're back. This was actually cooked for about 18 minutes in the oven. I don't know how accurate my oven really is. When I said 30 minutes earlier, it's really supposed to cook for about 15, maybe 20 minutes. I did the 15 and then I added another 3 minutes. But you can see that this bread came out really golden brown. It wasn't quite golden after the 15 minutes, so I really just set a timer. You can see the bottom is fairly well cooked. And it's very yellow in color from the turmeric. The whole apartment just smells wonderful. This bread is great with some salted butter. Also, one of my favorite things to do with this bread for a snack after end of day snack, or even for a little breakfast with your breakfast, is put on some Greek style yogurt and a little bit of honey, and the flavors of this bread are just really fantastic. Again, you know now I love eating bread while filming. It's a really delicious, tasty bread. I made it last week, and I handed it out to a bunch of people at work, and they really loved it. Try it, make it. You really can't go wrong. It's very light, fluffy, airy, and really packed full of flavor. The aniseed gives it a sweetness. I think you'll really enjoy this bread. And hurry up and make it before tomorrow, Easter, and share it with your family. So, again, Palestinian turmeric bread, along with some very flavorful seeds, very flavorful dough. Again, thanks for my subscribers. I'm up to 71. Every time I film, I've got more subscribers. It's unbelievable. Thanks to the guy who named me Crazy Dave, too, by the way. Brian, he knows who he is. DBJ, also a subscriber. Really appreciate you giving me the moniker Crazy Dave all those years ago. I don't remember why, but I'm sure you do. Have a great day. Thanks again for tuning in to Crazy Dave's Kitchen, and we'll see you next time.